What was it like to live in the hood?
Huh. Wow. That's a great question, man. In the hood, man, that's which time? Give me age categories.
Age category, any age.
Nah, you gotta kind of give me something, cause I've lived in a lot of different hoods.
Teenager to kid to adult.
Okay, so pick the numbers from what age to what age?
Hold up. I'm going with 18.
Well, I'm not a kid. I'm grown.
Hold on.
At 18, I mean, you know what I mean.
When you were a teenager, when you were.
No, well, I need you to give me because I've lived a very crazy life.
15.
15. Actually, I wasn't living in the hood at 15.
What?
At 15, I was living in Shots Out to Pueblo, Colorado. I was living with your grandfather. He had came and picked me. He had came and got me from LA because your dad could play sports.
Ah.
So he took me to Pueblo, Colorado to play sports. And I went to a school where it was only maybe 5 or 6 black people in the whole school. So it was a culture shock for me. Very much a culture shock because I had never went to school or been around. I had never went to school or been around any other races before. You know, I take that back. When I was 14, I went to school with a lot of Hispanics and Filipinos. But yeah, nah, man, it was a culture shock because I went to school with all kind of rich little Caucasian kids, man, and you know what I mean, Hispanics, and man. But to elaborate a little bit more, what it was like living in the hood, you know what? We used to do shooting drills. You know what that is?
Shooting drills. I'm thinking like a drill for shooting, like, you know.
Well, no, it was a drill for shooting, but it actually was a drill where my grandmother, she would take a bell and she would ring the bell. And back then, a lot of people used to shoot a lot, especially where we lived at. So anytime we used to hear shots, we would be eating dinner or anything like that, we immediately drop to the floor. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how growing up in the hood, you know, that was something that you needed to know. Like when you hear shots, because, you know, some people get scared, they run, some people take off, sometimes for every situation, there is no right or wrong way to what. Some situations you may have to take off running. Other situations you might want to stand still and get low. You know what I mean? So, you know, it was very much, man. You know, it was a lot of, you know, it being a kid, we went outside. We played a lot. So we played football, but at the same time, we grew up fast. Because when I was your age, believe it or not, I actually seen a lot of people die. So that was the reality. The reality was, like, I seen my first dead body at your age, at 9. We was playing, you know, we was on 104th and Crenshaw, and some cats came by, and they got shot. And they shot them in the alley, and when they shot them, they ran into the building, our apartment building, in the back of the alley. So we hear a big crash, boom. So we're kids, we outside playing, we go in the back. It's 3 dudes slumped over. One of the dudes, he turned his head, and blood just came out of his mouth. And that's when I first seen that when air and blood and turns to plasma, it turns yellowish. So yeah, man, I was your age, man. I seen my first dead body. You know, and it was, you know, a lot of people, you know, they're like, oh, you know, they want to live in the hood. The hood is a mind state. You know what I mean? I mean, you got your environment, you know, some terrible environments, but the hood is a mindset. You know what I'm saying? You can live in the hood but not be of the hood. You know, you can interact. You know, you'll see stuff going on, and you gotta choose. Like you gotta do. Like I'm your dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think? Why would you have to go rob somebody or take something from somebody when you can go ask your dad for it?
Probably my theory is because I'm broke. I have nothing. Like, I heard from robbers that they
You
are.
heard from robbers?
No,
How did
not like that.
No, yeah, okay, because I'm like, man, what you doing? Who you talking to, man, on the internet, man? What you trying to learn?
No. So, basically, from my standpoint, my anti-memes, she told me that basically robbers, it's kind of like bullies. Like, bullies have a hard life to live, so they take out the anger at school. So, basically, a robber having a hard life to live doesn't have any money, broke, so he has to from stealing for him to get his debt off or, like, do stuff with it. Good stuff. Yeah.
That's a good synopsis. You know, unfortunately, you know, it's sad. You know, one thing that I can say that I'm proud to say as being a black man, I never robbed another black man. You know what I mean? Now I did some other bullshit, but I never robbed another black man because I felt like, you know, shit, the motherfuckers going through the same shit I'm going through. So that's one thing that I'm happy to say that I can say I've never did that to my own people. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things, man. But yeah, you're right, man. You know, unfortunately, man, you know, anything that you want in life, you got to just work hard for it. It don't matter. You feel me? That's great. That was a good question. How was it growing up? You've never asked me that before.
I never. So it's like you ask me any questions, and I'm like, I mean, like, I heard that sometimes I did heard that you used to live. I heard that you used to live in the hood. So it's
Who
like,
told you that?
Probably like a long time ago. You did tell me you used to live in the hood, but I never asked the question, what was it like to be in the hood? Because I felt like you would say like a ton of bad stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna save it for the podcast so everybody would hear that what it was like to live in the hood and have more of a culture integrity of what it was like and how was it feeling like.
Well, you know, it's a debate that me, you know, shouts out to me and your goddad, shouts out to my partner Indian, So Way Out. We've always had this debate, are you a product of your environment or are you a product of your choices? You know, like, one of the reasons why I chose to raise you in Seattle versus raising you in LA is because I didn't want you to have to go through some of the trials and tribulations that young black men go through being in LA. And I'm not going to say like it's not, you know, you don't have to go through stuff out here in Seattle, but some of the stuff you can miss. You feel me? So it's like, man, you know, Seattle's a very beautiful city. It's a very, you know, positive city for families. But at the same time, if you want to find bullcrap, you can find bullcrap anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Usually in the cities, like downtown Seattle, sometimes when you're walking around in like alleys, you can see there's a part of downtown Seattle what has a lot of crackhead, has a lot of shooting. Well, I gotta say that.
I hear you. I'm just like,
one time when I was with my jazz, there was like this white guy and a black guy. This black guy was playing music, but the white guy had a gun. Nobody evacuated. Everybody mind their own business. But the guy was yelling hard with his gun. It was like the same street where all the crackheads, smokers, and everything there. So basically, look at that, that's funny.
No, I'm just laughing, man. It's funny to me to hear you just use some of these terms, man, because I've never told you these terms. So it's like, it's watching you grow up in a sense. It's like, yeah, well, these crackheads and smokers. And I'm just like, well, thank you, Seattle. This is the shit I was trying to hide from myself being in LA. But
Well, I already found it.